People always need it. They need it so badly, and they don't get it. It used to be you would go home at the end of the day. Most people would go, oh, Cheers is on. Oh, MASH is on. Oh, Mary Tyler Moore is on. All in the Family's on. You just expected there'll be some funny stuff we can watch on TV tonight. Well, guess what? Where is it? This is the result of the extreme left and PC crap and people worrying so much about offending other people.
It's weird because now it's like, I think the folks on the periphery are now involved in pushing back on this stuff, what some of us have been warning about for a decade. Like, this is going to kill comedy, all of this, the woke scolds, this neo-Puritan, which is what I've been saying for also a decade, this neo-Puritan movement. We've been talking about this for so long, and it almost seems like it's too late to see some of these other folks come into the fray. I'm glad Jerry Seinfeld's talking about it. I think he's probably spoke up about it more than most who've been in comedy. But it's weird because you would think that somebody like Jerry Seinfeld would have been able to push back on a lot of that stuff, maybe, but at the same time, would it have cost him his audience? You know, however famous you think someone is, unless they're J.K. Rowling wealthy or even Dave Chappelle wealthy, they don't have immunity. I mean, there's that, the audience will turn on them like that. It's very interesting. Welcome back to the program. Dana Loesch with you at the bottom of this second hour. He was talking about lack of comedy. Seinfeld shows it's because of the extreme left and all of the political correctness. And it is true because it's not a free-for-all. And it's affected so much. It's not just comedy. It's affected everything. Thought, reasoning, academics. It's all, that was the first symptom of the Marxist CRT DEI nonsense. That was the first hint that you got as to what was coming. And when people on the right, because I've been writing about CRT, critical race theory, Marxist critical race theory, for literally over 12 years now, when people on the right first started talking about this, a lot of people, including moderates on the left, thought we were being ridiculous, that maybe we were being too sensitive over the sensitivity of people who were calling political incorrectness out on just average, everyday stuff. And it wasn't that, really. I mean, there's good taste and bad taste. There's mean-spiritedness and not. But it was because we saw what was coming. It was a hint of now what is a deluge of, you can't, you have to even change how you say pronouns, and you have to welcome men on women's teams. And it's gone. If people on the left who are moderates thought there needed to be a slight course correction, it's gone way beyond that to a destabilization. It's just nothing is funny anymore. We're thinking about that. Like think about the last new funny thing that you watched. Seriously, what was it? What was the last new? I'm not talking about something old. New funny thing that you watched. I think I watched some of Chappelle's last stand-up, but that's almost kind of like excluded from this. You know what I mean? Like, is there a new program or a new movie that's genuinely funny that you've seen? I can't actually name one. Can you, Kane?
No.
Can people in chat, can they name one? What's the last new? Not like old Blazing Saddles or any reissue. None of that. Like a new movie or a new program that you've watched that was actually legitimately funny. I am really struggling. I actually don't know. I'm thinking of everything that I've watched.
Was Dairy Girls?
Dairy Girls was funny.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty
It
good.
wasn't super hyper political, but that's like still, I mean, the first season was like 5 years ago.
Right. And that's what I was thinking of too, is that long. I mean, that's as new as I can go. I think I saw a few episodes of Loudermilk I thought was funny.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but 22 was their last.
Yeah.
They need to come out with a new season. I don't know. Right?
Yeah. I mean, all the movies anymore these days are just remakes of what's already happened.
Like I was watching some Welcome to Wrexham stuff, and I thought it was kind of amusing, and then it started getting a little, okay, all right, we get it. I get your politics. Can you just stop shoving it in people's face? It just was weird.
I mean, outside of like South Park.
Yeah, South Park. the Beavis and Butthead, the new stuff.
Yeah, the new stuff.
But that's like it. And notice, like, those are carryovers.
Right.
Beavis and Butthead and then South Park are long time. They're carryovers.
Lorraine says in the chat that they're saying The Office. And that's, I mean, again, that's
old though.
New,
yeah. Like,
new isn't exactly how I describe The Office.
I know. This is weird.
But yeah, it seems like
let's
Seinfeld
do it like this.
is
In the
right.
past 2 years, any new television shows or movies that you've seen that have been funny? The only funny thing that I saw, and I mean genuinely laugh out loud, was, and everyone was saying, what happened to SNL? They had 2 skits that were genuinely funny. And people could not, and I watched them and they actually were genuinely funny. It was the one with Ryan Gosling and Chris Stapleton. And there was one, we can't play any of it because of copyright, but there was one where it was like these 3 chicks, 3 of the cast members who were saying that they were doing a country song. And you know how it is, like, you know, I keyed his car or I, you know, whatever, got back at him, like a little petty revenge. Well, the joke was that one of the girls was just straight up psycho. And she's like, and I switched his shoes with a pair that's a half size bigger so he would think that he was shrinking, like mind job stuff. And it was hysterical because the other girls were like, wait a minute, that's not what we had in mind. And then there was a skit where Ryan Gosling and another cast member, and it was Kenan Thompson, who really brought it all together. He was this AI expert, and they were interviewing him, and he just happened to notice 2 dudes in the audience that looked exactly like Beavis and Butthead. But the joke of it was that nobody else, apparently like the other cast members, did not know that they were going to look like that. And so the reactions were pretty hysterical. They had a hard time getting through the segment, and it was funny. That's it, though. That's it. That's literally it. And they had no politics on. They had the thing that made it funny was there was a generalized understanding of the best way I can describe it is like a water cooler reference. You used to have back in, and I think Game of Thrones was maybe one of the last kind of water cooler type TV programs that there was. They didn't release it all at once. It was released like only on Sundays, and everybody talked about it Monday. But those events, whether it was, you know, in music or television or a film, that was pretty like straight down the middle and everybody could see it and it was applicable to everybody. And then everyone could reference it at the water cooler and talk about it the next day at work, you know, as just like the stereotypical way of, you know, saying that it was mainstreamed. It was a water cooler touch point, right? We don't have those anymore. And I kind of think that that's sort of required for something to be super ridiculously funny. Not that it's like so niche, not that it's for to have like a wider audience to be really funny. And like the Beavis and Butthead and the Stapleton skit, that was hysterical because who wouldn't laugh at that, right? Who would laugh at it? It was funny. But that's it. Everybody else is so wrapped up in their identity of politics. And it's like this, they can't separate themselves from it. And they can't make anything and create anything separate from that. And that's part of it. It's a really weird thing that, and we indulge it. I will say those 2 skits were actually genuinely, the country music thing was one of the cleverer things I've seen in some time. That took me for a trip. I did not expect that punchline. And I rarely laugh out loud. And I laughed out loud. I laughed my head off at that thing. That was hysterical. And then I guess they went back to sucking. I don't know.
Yeah, I've been sitting here thinking. I think Ted Lasso was the only other thing I could think of. The only other show that was actually, but it was like drama-y funny.
Yeah, I don't like drama, and I don't like my idea of a chick flick is death proof, right?
But at least it was a semi-original idea, and at least, you know.
Roy Kent was the only one, and I chuckled, but I didn't like. But he was funny. Roy Kent is funny. I mean, he's like the best person on that whole show.
But we had such a surplus of comedy in the 90s. I think we took it for granted.
Apparently, the chat said Young Sheldon. I've never watched that.
I've seen some episodes of Young Sheldon. I think it's great.
I don't know what that's. I don't even know what it's about.
You know the Big Bang Theory, Sheldon?
No, I've never watched
Sheldon Cooper from the Big Bang Theory? Well, it's the prequel, I guess, and it's him as a child.
Oh, I'm
and
even less interested.
his childhood.
I don't know. It's just very, I will say real quick, and we got some other stuff to hit. We needed a palate cleanser. One of the best shows that I'm watching right now is called Constellation. I think it's like on Apple TV Plus or whatever. I can't remember what it's on. It is so creepy and it's so good. And it's actually a super creepy examination of quantum physics. And yeah, it's terrifying when you think what is scientifically allowable, like, or what can exist scientifically, like like different possibilities of you all coexisting in different plane. It's messed up. It is so good. It is such a good series. The first episode, though, I'm not going to lie, it was so creepy. I turned on my patio light because I was like, this is dark out there. This is creepy. And I had to go turn on my patio light. I legit was creeped out. All right, so we had to talk about that because I'm always fascinated by that. I think that's like comedy is a good measure, I think, of how healthy a society is. Can a society laugh together and at itself? We're not really there in the United States, are we? I don't think so.